What is going on, guys? Noah Brewer here, back again with another video, and today we're in a different setting, and the reason is because I'm going to talk to you about something personal today. I'm going to be talking to you about my weight loss journey and essentially where I've been, what I've been through, what I've been doing over the past few months. I know quite a few have noticed that I've lost quite a bit of weight, especially here in the last couple months. If you go through my channel and scroll through my videos, you'll notice. So I kind of wanted to make this video not only for myself, but for those of you who were in a similar situation to me. Maybe it would be valuable for you. I also think it's important for myself to share my journey and kind of document, what I'm doing. So I kind of have a presentation here, and before you say it, no, I'm not going to transition this channel into a fitness channel, and I'm not trying to be a fitness guru. I want to make the disclaimer up front that I know nothing about fitness. That's the reason I had the issues in the first place, and why I've been able to make such a big improvement is because I knew nothing about fitness, didn't care about it, and just recently I started caring about it. So do not take the things that I'm saying in this video as advice. I'm just saying the things that I've done and what's worked for me. So the first thing that I want to cover, and I'll show a little before and after picture of kind of where I was and where I am today. And yes, that picture was actually taken today, and why I'm making this video. So obviously, number one is to inspire others that were in the same position as me. I know, like, in the business world, especially if you have multiple businesses and you're somebody who's really, really busy, and if you love food, there's like a few other things that stack onto it, which we'll get into in a bit. But it can be easy to become overweight, and not that that's a bad thing for most people. It definitely wasn't a bad thing for me. I was actually very, very happy when I was overweight. Everything was fine. But I do want to say that if you wanted to change your position, I wanted to show you kind of what it took for me to do it. Before I get into the before and after picture, I don't really like the after kind of sentence, like the before and after idea, because it's kind of insinuating that I've already done something. In my mind, I simply changed my lifestyle, and the results have just been kind of like a side benefit of changing my lifestyle. And there's been other benefits as well. Like, my business is going a lot better than they were about 6 months ago. They're starting to really take off and do numbers that we've never even seen before. My mental state is really good. My happiness levels are off the charts. My self-confidence level and self-love levels are off the charts as well. I'm learning more than I ever am. So not only has my lifestyle change also affected the way that I look and feel, but it's also affected, my business, my education, my self-love, my confidence, all of these things. So I want to say that this is not a before and after situation. This is kind of a situation where I've made a lot of changes over the past 3-4 months, and weight loss is only one of the benefits of all the changes that I made. Another thing that I want to say is I never hated this process. I actually have been enjoying my life very much, and we'll get into this in a little bit, but essentially I haven't made many like sacrifices, or as I would call them, like negative sacrifices, things that I felt I was missing out on, or things that I did that I didn't want to do. I never really hated the process, and I think that's really important, and we'll get into that as a part of this video as well. And of course, I'm making this video for my own pleasure to kind of look back on. Obviously, there's a lot of videos out there that I've already uploaded that I love looking back on. So I want to talk about how I actually got to my, we'll call it, unhealthiest point, like the most unhealthy I've ever been. So pretty much I'll give you a little bit of background. I've never really been health conscious. I never really got into sports, like through school and stuff like that. I actually left school. I wasn't involved in any sports. And essentially my first 4 years in business, I was focused on like 0% of my health. I was mainly focused on, essentially getting rich. That was my main number one goal, and anything that didn't have to do with making money, I just was not interested in. Another thing to keep in mind, and this is where things got really, really bad, is when I was scaling my initial agency, I was doing a lot of consulting work. I was literally sitting in front of a screen for 12 months straight. And I don't mean like, 6 to 8 hours a day. I mean like literally 12 hours a day for 365 days at least straight. Like, I wasn't going on trips. I wasn't, going out to eat or nothing. I had 40 students, and I was doing 2 calls a week with every single one of them. I was doing 80 to 100 phone calls a week. And obviously during this time I was snacking, I was eating junk food and shit. At this point, I gained a lot of my weight. Probably like 30 to 40 pounds I gained during this 1 year of just doing nothing but consulting calls. Now, even though this was a very pivotal point for my business, it was, kind of a pivotal point for my health. It was really bad for me. My back got all fucked up. Consuming probably 5,000 calories per day. We'll get into like my diet and kind of what I was doing as a part of this video as well, and what I'm doing differently now. We're talking about, you know, constantly snacking, like always having a snack by my side, always munching on something. Like I love food, like just the flavors. I don't know, it's like a dopamine thing for me. It just gets me really excited. And then eating out like 1 to 3 times per day. Like I'm shitting you not, there have been 90-day windows where I've literally eaten out for every single meal with no cooking inside. And I'm not talking about just going out to eat, you know, to like somewhere healthy. I'm talking about full out, you know, rib meals, big ass cheeseburgers, you know, like the worst food that you could possibly consume. Some days I would go out for breakfast, get the most unhealthy possible breakfast that you could get, and then I would go out for lunch, and then I would go out again for dinner, and I swear to God, I would consume like 6,000-7,000 calories in a single day. So this was the kind of shit that I was on. I mean, like, I loved food, and I had a bunch of money, and I was, you know, doing business and stuff. My focus was just in other places, and I was just living my life. My maximum recorded weight was 250. I don't know if I went over 250. I feel like once I saw 250 on the scale, I started to kind of lay low with the foods a little bit. Like I feel like I kind of peaked at that level just because I saw it on the scale. I could have gone a little bit higher. I don't know though. But one thing that I want to say is I was very happy. When I was actually weighing 250 pounds, like I was happy as fuck, which I think a lot of people don't really talk about when they talk about, you know, their before picture is like, I was okay with being unhealthy. I knew that I was obese. I knew that I wasn't feeling my greatest at all times, but I also knew that I really loved food and I wasn't going to the gym. Essentially, it was the price that I was paying for living the lifestyle that I was living, and I was okay with that. You know, essentially, my businesses were doing very well. I was eating like a king and I was living like a king. That's like the best way to say it. So if I was so happy, then why did I change anything? Why did I go in any direction to try to make any change? Well, there's a few things that started happening. I don't want to get too in depth on my personal life, but a few things started going downhill, including, you know, my business. My health was at its worst point ever, and I was aware of it. Like I said, it didn't bother me that much, but I was aware of that. On top of that, the businesses that I was running at the time were not doing the greatest. This is kind of like your classic like 3-month rut. Like business is very up and down, and we were in one of our down moments. I was also very overwhelmed by like personal errands and chores and stuff because I have this house out in Arizona. There was just a lot of shit that was piling up. And I was actually sitting in my hot tub with my buddy John Zamora. I'll mention him again in this video. He's been a huge part of this process and this improvement, and also a few other friends that I'll shout out as well. But I was sitting in the hot tub with him, and I remember just being so overwhelmed, you know, not really depressed, but like I was kind of like in the mind frame of like, holy shit, like there's so much to do with this business and that business and, you know, my real estate, and, you know, I still have to register my car and this and that and this and that, and just tons of things that I didn't even know where to start, right? Like there was just so much shit that I was backed up on. I had no idea what to do. And he said, you know what? It sounds like you need to read The Slight Edge. Now, this book is probably the book that changed my life, but also that pivotal moment where, you know, he looked me in the eyes and said, if you can do one thing to solve all of those problems, dedicate, you know, I don't know, 10 to 30 minutes, whatever I was comfortable with, reading that book. And that's exactly what I did. And that book, I'm telling you right now, if you haven't read it, you need to read it, especially if you want to have any sort of results in fitness or business, or if you want to be happier. Like it literally solves most problems that you would have on a day-to-day basis, and also from a macro point of view of your life. And essentially what it's about is just small decisions that add up and bring you big results over time. And I was actually able to slight edge myself out of a lot of the problems that I was having. You know, for example, my house was a mess, so I started cleaning, you know, my house for 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes is like nothing. That was like a super small time commitment, but like literally within a week, you know, my whole house was spotless, and I was like, holy fuck, like literally 10 minutes a day just solved my problems with, you know, my house being dirty. So I started doing it with other things, and health was one of those things that I started slight edging. And, you know, it was just slowly like making small decisions about what I was eating, making small decisions like, okay, maybe I'm parking a little bit farther away at the bank, you know, just little stuff like that in the very beginning, where I was just consciously making these smaller decisions to improve my health. I also got really, really organized with all my business work. I, you know, started a very organized to-do list, which went through many different versions, and right now I'm on a version that's really, really good. And I also want to document, you know, everything that I do on my day-to-day today, because I feel like there's been a lot of improvements, which I'm trying to film a day in the life. I'm trying to bring my videographer out here to do that. So let me know in the comments if you want me to film a day in the life video. But yeah, I got super duper organized. I created focus sheets. You know, like there were a couple books that helped me on this stuff. One of the books that helped me get organized with like to-do lists and stuff is called Traction. It's another great book that I would highly recommend any, you know, business owner read. Doesn't really help with health, but it does help with like organization and setting goals and stuff like that. I also became very, very focused on my goals. Business goal, real estate goal, and health goal. Now, we'll get into what my goal is in a minute here, but another thing that started becoming important to me was self-love. Like I feel like throughout this whole process of like, you know, my business is kind of fizzling out, my real estate going to shit, my personal errands running up, like the thing that was eating at me the most is I felt like I was losing myself. Like the guy that got to where he is today is not the same guy that was sitting in that hot tub that night. The guy that got to where he is today was a fucking badass who had all of his shit together and was a hustler. And I just didn't feel like myself anymore. So this was another thing that like really urged me to change and hey, I gotta find out who Noah Brewer is again and spark that light again. Another thing to mention is once I started slowly seeing a little bit of improvement, like I said, I started making these small decisions about, you know, what I'm eating and you know, the amount of exercise that I'm doing. I started seeing slow improvement, you know, like losing a pound or losing 2 pounds. Just seeing the results come, and I started to realize like, holy shit, fitness is one of those things where you can have guaranteed results, which I know that this is a crazy concept, but in business or real estate or really anything where you would have ambition to be better, the results are not really guaranteed. You know, for example, you can grind your ass off on a certain project in a business for like 3-4 months and then have it yield like 0 results at all. And this is something that was also eating at me because I've been working on a lot of new projects that weren't working out, and that's fine, but it definitely eats at you. And once I saw that, like, okay, if you grind on your fitness, if you grind on your body and you make the sacrifices and you put in the work, you're going to see the results. It's not really a question of if it works. It will work if you put in the work. So I was really, really addicted to this concept because, you know, after putting all this money and time into business and, you know, not having guaranteed results, but still almost, you know, still being able to make it work, like that just gave me the confidence, like, holy shit, like if all I have to do is do the work, it would be so easy, right? Like imagine in business, if all you had to do to become a millionaire was just to work 12 hours a day. I mean, if all you had to do was work 12 hours a day to become a millionaire, everybody would just work 12 hours a day, right? But it's not that simple with business. But what I am telling you is, especially if you go on a specific diet and you partner up with a personal trainer and you do everything that is supposed to get you to your goal in the fitness world, it will happen. One of the main reasons most people don't hit their fitness goals, I feel, is that they fall off or they don't follow their plan or they don't switch to a new lifestyle, things like this. And I was just really addicted to the fact that if I just put in the work, I could get the results. It gave me the confidence that I needed and the faith that I could get the results. So when I was creating my goals, I wanted to create a goal big enough that it scared me, but not so big that it was impossible. So at the time, I was weighing about 230 pounds. Like I said, before I got in that hot tub with John that night and he recommended me that book, I was already doing some fitness things like walking every day, doing a little bit of better diet. So I lost about 20 pounds at this point. So by the time I got to setting a clear, solid goal, I was weighing about 230 pounds. And the goal that I set was to lose 50 more pounds, which to me was like, holy fuck, like if I could lose another 50 pounds, like I'd be willing to do anything in the world just to get to that point. And so I started writing down that goal every single day. So starting around June, like the beginning of June, I started writing down lose 50 pounds, and then I would write down where I started. So I'd write down 230, and then I would write down my current weight. And just every single day, I have the notes, tons of notes, probably over 100 pages by now of me just writing lose 50 pounds every single day and keeping track of my weight. So obviously when I first set this goal, I didn't really think it was possible. It was so distant to me. It was just like, okay, I just need to put in the work right now, and like eventually sometime in the future, I'll hit that goal. I didn't really have a time frame on it. I think this was also really important to me to not, you know, set any pressure and just focus on making like a positive lifestyle change rather than, you know, rushing and making short-term decisions. I was focusing on making a long-term lifestyle change, and it didn't matter to me how long it took me to hit that goal. So one thing I want to make very clear, and one point that I want to put here, and this is one of the big things that I learned along the way, is that everything that I did was very gradually implemented. I never really left my comfort zone more than once or twice, and I never really thought like, fuck this shit. I think it was important for me to like really enjoy what I was doing, you know, in terms of my diet and my workout routine, because I knew if I didn't enjoy it, like I was just, you know, I'm just at a point in my life where like if I don't enjoy something, I'm just not interested in it. And I understand that, you know, you have to make sacrifices to get what you want, but you have to also understand where I was coming from. I didn't really care about my health for the longest time, and to be honest, I still only really care about it a little bit. So it was important to me that I enjoyed the process. And one of these things, and I feel like a lot of people don't start on their fitness journey just because they fear that they're not going to enjoy it, they're not going to like it, they're going to have to do things that they don't want to do. And that's one of the points that I wanted to make in this video, is it's not true. There were things that I had to learn to love and learn to make special to me. Like for example, you know, doing stair stepper, which is something that we'll get into and how I did it. But one of the things that, you know, I found beauty in doing stair stepper. It's not like I love doing it, but I found beauty in it. It gave me time to listen to a podcast and really learn about somebody that I've always wanted to learn about. Or it gave me time to just listen to music. It gave me time to shut off from my business life and my relationships and my personal life and just focus on stepping upstairs. So you find beauty in things. You know, the main thing that I wanted to say is I never really got to a point where I was doing shit that I really hated. Like there is one workout that I really fucking hate that I probably won't do a whole lot of moving forward. Like honestly, I'd rather be fat than do them, and that's lunges. And I'm being honest with you, fuck lunges. Like those are one of the things that, you know, if I set myself on a routine to do, you know, 30 lunges a day, I'm setting myself up to fail, because that is something that I just flat out don't want to do. They suck. It's like the worst workout in the world that I've done so far. I thought that was funny, but it's just an example of like, I know that if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't be consistent with it. And consistency is the only thing that really matters here. Another thing to note is if I went from my previous lifestyle directly to where I'm at today, overnight, I would not have lasted more than a week. So if you look at where I'm at today versus where I was before, it's two completely different people, two completely different routines, different goals, different actions. But I do want you to know that it was a super gradual change, and I mostly only changed like one or two small things at a time, and just over time everything, you know, changed. But don't try to change your complete lifestyle overnight. Like everything was super duper gradual, and it also doesn't have to be uncomfortable for you. Like you can do things that you're comfortable with, and you don't have to do things that you fucking hate to see results. Essentially, this is another thing that the Slight Edge taught me, is that some small decisions that you make, even though it doesn't seem significant at the time, can yield big results. And that especially if you're making small changes, you know, once a week, twice a week, after a few months, it really adds up. And I mean, you could be a completely different person after a few months of just changing one or two small things a week. So I want to talk about my diet progression, because I've had a lot of people DM me and be like, hey, you know, what's your diet like? How many calories are you consuming? So the reason I say diet progression and not what's my diet is because I want you to kind of see how I got to where I am right now as opposed to where I started. Because it wasn't just like an overnight, like, okay, I'm going on a diet. No, it was a complete gradual change. As I said, there's been different stages, there's been different goals. So we'll start at where I started at. Like I said, I was consuming over 5,000 calories per day. I wasn't counting, but I can tell you with confidence now that I 100% was. You know, we're talking endless amounts of candy, going out to eat multiple times, just living the absolute life, consuming everything that my heart and brain could desire with no limits. And then the next thing that I did was just try to make healthier choices, right? Like I would just buy, you know, maybe organic food or sugar-free, or try to eat a little bit less candy. You know, I was still definitely being super unhealthy. Don't get me wrong, just eating a ridiculous amount of food every single day, but I slowly started making a little bit better choices. This is like a big step for anybody, because in my opinion, it's better to slowly improve than it is to like try to change something overnight and then end up giving up on it. And I feel like that's where I was at. I was at the stage where I needed to gradually change and not try to change overnight. That way I would stick with it and actually create a lifestyle rather than a plan. And then after that, I was like, you know what, fuck this shit. I started seeing a little bit of results, and I just wanted to go all in and see quicker results. You know, I wanted to see more results. Like I said, I got addicted to the results. So I completely stopped snacking on food. So I was only eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, no snacks throughout the day. And I would say that this is probably around 3,000 calories a day. If I had to guess, most days I just wouldn't even eat breakfast because I'd wake up a little bit later. 3,000 calories a day is a good point here. And this is where I started, really starting to like lose a decent amount of weight. And I also around this time, I started going to the gym and stuff. So I started like seeing really good progression, and I was like, holy shit, this 50-pound goal of mine is actually doable, and it's not going to be that bad. Like, I was still enjoying what I was eating. I wasn't making that many sacrifices. But one day I was like, fuck this. I'm just going to go all in. I really want to get crazy results, and I want to hit my goal of losing 50 pounds. And the best way for me to do that at the time was completely cutting down my calorie intake to 1,500 calories per day. Another thing that I did was adding drinking a gallon of water per day. This really helps with hunger, but it also helps with the way that you feel throughout the day. It's still something that I do. Like, I'm still drinking a gallon of water every single day. I try to get through the whole thing, or I was trying to get through the whole thing. I'd say like most of the time I would. Right now I'm doing 75 hard, so I actually have to. It's like not a negotiable thing as a part of that challenge. So now I am getting through a gallon per day. But back then I was like, I was trying my hardest. And I was also making pure healthy choices. Like, there was no more candy, no more sugar. I've been on a sugar deficit now for probably 4 or 5 months. And honestly, most of the weight loss that I experienced was on this diet. Like, I was on this diet for like a solid 2 months straight of pretty much the way that I would break it down is like 300 calories for breakfast. It'd be like a banana and a protein bar, and then a single protein bar for lunch. And then I would try to consume 1,000 calories for dinner. So, it was like 300 for breakfast, 200 for lunch, and then 1,000 for dinner. And that's pretty much all I ate for like 2 months straight, minus a couple times I went out to eat with friends and stuff like that. I'm not really counting the one-off situations. Then around the time when I hit 190 to 195, I increased my calorie intake to about 2,000 calories per day. I remember I was on like a 3-week streak of just pushing my hardest and getting incredible results, and my body was fucking crying. Like, it was crying for help, and I was like, okay, body, I need to feed you a little bit more food, so I'm gonna give you a little bit more food. And obviously I kept up with the gallon of water, but obviously this whole time it's healthy foods only. So essentially what this meant was I was eating like an extra protein bar in the morning, or I was having a little bit bigger of a dinner. And then that brings us to the diet that I'm currently on, which is 2,300 to 2,500 calories every single day, plus the gallon of water. So now my food is like probably the healthiest options of everything that I can possibly buy. Like, I try to get all organic, low sugar, low sodium, everything. Probably the most unhealthy thing, I'll pop a picture on the screen of like the most unhealthy thing in my pantry right now, and probably the most unhealthy thing that I've eaten in the past 2 weeks is literally just like this little granola bar thing. It's like not even unhealthy for you, but it's, everything that I'm eating is so pure and so good. I just thought it was a funny thing to mention that, which by the way, those things taste fucking delicious. Like, I love it every time I have one. I allow myself to have one like once every few days in replacement of a protein bar, just because it tastes great. I love them. So the reason I'm where I'm at today is because I wanted to do a little bit more calories. I think this will help with the general maintenance of my weight loss, because if you're just on a full calorie deficit, like, that deficit is fucking insane. Like, the 1,500 calorie per day, I can't ethically recommend that to anybody. That's just what I did. That's an insane deficit. That's probably 1,000 calories per day less than what I'm supposed to be eating. Even the diet that I'm on today is a fat deficit. Like, it's really a lot less than you should be eating, considering I'm doing 2 very intense workouts every single day. I'm probably spending about 2 hours per day, 2 to 3 hours per day working out right now. But that's why I decided to up it from 2,000 to 2,500, just so that I could feed my body the extra juice needed for 75 hard, right? Because it's a pretty intense challenge, and I wanted to make sure that my body was fueled up and ready to go. I'm gonna show my phone screen on the camera. You guys can follow along, but I wanted to walk you guys through my workout routines, what exactly I'm doing. I'm not gonna spend too much time here because, like I said, you can pause it and look at it for yourself. All right, so on the top here, I have basically like a no gym workout. So this is like if I don't have access to a gym or anything, this is the workout that I'll do. So this could be outside, inside. Some of them require dumbbells and other weights, which you can substitute for other things. And then we have push day number 1, chest and triceps. We have pull day number 1, back and biceps. I implemented these chill days. Now, I wasn't doing the chill days for the longest time. This is something that I just implemented about 2 weeks ago. And the reason I do these chill days now is honestly just to give myself a 1-day break from the stair stepper, because my legs get really, really fucked up when I mix daily stair stepper with leg days for so long. So this basically just allows my body to recover. This is not something that I was doing for the majority of my weight loss. I just wanted to make that clear that I just started doing this recently. And then I have my leg day number 1, and you can see the sets laid out in the middle, and then the number over to the right is the max weight that I do for each one, in case you were curious. And then we have a push day number 2, pull day number 2, chill day number 2, and a leg day number 2. So it's basically push, pull, chill, legs. And I basically repeat that process. I don't have them tied to any specific day. I just go one after the other. This system has worked out really, really well for me. And I want to personally say thank you to Jonathan Zamora. He sat down and built this routine for me. He took a lot of time out of his life to, help me on my journey with improving my fitness, my life. Like I said, he's the one that started it all by recommending that book. So John, if you're watching this video, thank you, bro. You fucking changed my life, and you continue to be one of the most valuable people in my life. And if you're watching this video, I would highly recommend that you go and follow him, because he is an absolute savage with email marketing for e-commerce stores. Another guy that helped me out quite a bit, not so much with the routine, but with my form and my attitude and just giving me something to look forward to when I was traveling, was Steven. He's I'm So Savage 1. He's a personal trainer out in Connecticut who trained me a couple times, and I learned so much from him. And I feel like the 2 times that I trained with him, I got so jacked just from those 2 days. I know I did a leg day with him and I felt like fucking dying. Yes, he made me do lunges, and yes, I hated it. And I told him that I said I would never do lunges again, but I did them just for you, bro. So if you're watching this, thank you for making me do them. But probably the last time I'll do them with you, sorry to say. We'll see about that. Yeah, special thanks to these guys for being so willing to help me out on my journey. Super cool guys. Go give them a follow. The next thing I want to cover is cardio progression. So where did my cardio start at, and where is it at today? As I said in the very beginning, all I was doing was walking on a treadmill for 20 minutes per day, and I was able to lose about 20 pounds like just in 3 to 4 months just by doing this. This was like in the beginning of the year. Nobody noticed. It didn't really change anything. I just lost like some water weight, what I would assume it was. And another thing to note that I thought was funny is like I would watch a TV show. I think it was The Flash. I really fucking loved that show. I watched the entire thing. I was doing 1 episode per walk. And I would also eat snacks sometimes while walking. It was like one of the ways that I fucking let myself walk for so long, because like I said, I was just munching while watching TV on a treadmill, and it worked. But once I started taking things a little bit more seriously, I got a gym membership and I started doing stair stepper. I don't know what sparked my ambition to do stair stepper in the first place. I fucking looked at the machine and I was like, you know what? That looks like a badass machine, and that looks like it'll help me hit my goals. So I went up to one of the employees. I said, hey, show me how to use this. And then John was like, yo, you ever heard of HIIT training? And I was like, no, I've never heard of HIIT training. What is it? And he was like, okay, it's where you do 30 seconds slow and you do 30 seconds fast. That's not real HIIT training, but that was like the Fat Noah friendly HIIT training. Real HIIT training is like 15 seconds slow and then 45 seconds fast and alternating like that. That is some fucking intense shit that I'm not really interested in doing. But the 30 second slow, 30 second fast thing really stuck with me, and that's pretty much what I've been doing up until this point on the stair stepper every single day. So I started off on speed 3 and speed 10. So 3 is really, really slow, and 10 was also pretty fast for me at the time. Like I would do this for 20 minutes and be fucking gassed. Like I couldn't breathe, couldn't talk, couldn't even open my eyes because I was so sweaty. So I was really pushing myself for the first few times, and then slowly over time, I just started increasing the speed. So I got to 4 and 11. I got to 5 and 12, and then I got to 6 and 13 for the full 20 minutes. And then I started doing 6 and 13 with no hands. Like I started taking my hands off the machine, which if you've never done stair stepper, doing it with your hands on the machine and then doing it without are like 2 completely different things. And to get the most out of your workout on that machine, in my humble opinion, you must take your hands off of it. It helps with your balance. It helps with your fucking steadiness, your ability to your posture, like everything on that machine in my eyes is important. So removing the hands, this is where I got the most results. Like honestly, when I was doing 6 and 13 for 20 minutes with no hands on the machine, this is where I lost the most weight. This is also the time when I was only consuming about 1,500 calories per day. And I was just doing this, and I probably got the most results at this point. And then that brings me where I'm at today. I'm doing 5 and 12, so I've actually slowed it down a little bit. I have no hands on the machine. And I'm also doing a 45-minute outdoor workout, usually cardio, usually walking or stationary bike. Nothing intense, just some light outdoor workout. And that to me has been incredible. Like that definitely has accelerated things, but it's also a part of the 75 hard challenge, and it's something that I'm required to do every day as a part of that challenge. So that's part of the reason I'm doing it as well. All right, so before I end this video, I want to talk about some general lessons that I've learned, during on this journey over the past 4 months. If you're somebody that wants to see similar results to what I've seen, or if you're just starting on your fitness journey, or if you want to hear some decent advice and decent tips that I've picked up from different books and through implementing what I've implemented, the number one thing is it doesn't matter really what you do. Like I said, it could be walking, stair stepper, it could be weight training, it could be elliptical. It doesn't really matter what you do. It's more about the consistency of what you're doing. Now, what I mean by this is it doesn't matter if it's elliptical or stair stepper or walking or the row machine. If you wanted to do something, you need to do it very, very consistently every single day. Now, you can allow yourself a break day. I'm not saying you just have to be very consistent. That's the number one thing, because not everybody out there is going to want to do stair stepper, and you don't have to do stair stepper to get results, but you do have to stay consistent to get results. So I've implemented this in my businesses. I've implemented this with my real estate. Everything that I've taken out of fitness, I've also implemented in the other places of my life, and it's helped a lot. Another thing is the people around you are like at least 50% of what makes you successful. I've been surrounded by some incredible people over the last 4 months. I flew some people down. Some people came here to visit me. A couple guys from Germany came to my house for a couple months, and they were incredibly helpful with fitness and diet, teaching me how to cook healthier foods, different things like this, different conversations that I had with John on late nights or my manager, Duncan. Just enjoying the process overall was only made possible by the people that I put myself around. For example, one of the reasons I was willing to go to the gym is because I went with a friend and we had a good time. Like, we didn't just go to the gym and just grind and leave. No, like, we were fucking laughing, we were having a good time. This didn't last for the full 4 months. We probably went like a month or two doing this, but what it did was it got me into the routine, it got me into the habit, and it really helped with enjoying the process a lot. So put yourself around some people who can do it with you, and most importantly, help you enjoy what you're doing. Another thing that's just general advice is like the desire to do better is essential. Like, if you're not waking up every day like, I need to be better, it's gonna be very hard for you to see results. And this is not like a good or bad thing. It's more up to you whether it's good or bad. For me, I need desire to do better, or else I'm not gonna do better. So I just wanted to put it in here that if you don't have the desire to do better, you're not gonna do better. Another thing that I wanna point out that I think is a unique perspective that I've taken in terms of weight loss and what I've been doing is focusing on changing my lifestyle and not making a plan. This was not like a 4-month plan. This was not a 4-month strategy. I was really doing things every single day to improve my life as a whole, not only with my weight loss and my health, but also with my businesses, also with my personal life, my relationships, my friends, everything to do with my life. I've been working on improving, and I'm building a new lifestyle that fits my needs and fits my goals and helps me achieve my goals. I didn't come up with some plan or like a 90-day diet or something like this. I completely altered fucking everything, even my haircut, and I'm growing a fucking beard. Everything is different about where I'm at right now and where I was a year ago. And I wanted to say that it's important for you when you're looking at weight loss as some distant thing to not think of it as some like temporary plan. Don't think of it as a before and after situation. Think of it as like a before and then a beginning. It really is a beginning, and there's no real end to it. It just keeps going, and the lifestyle will never end. I plan on constantly changing and improving my lifestyle over my entire life. So I've said it many times in this video, I'll say it again, enjoying the process is 100% the game. At least for me. I know some people are like hardcore, like, you need to eat shit, pay the price to get the results. If you're that kind of person and that's what works for you, then that's great. But for me, somebody who doesn't really care about his health and has been super obese and also happy while super obese, I knew that I had to enjoy the process, or else I wasn't going to stick with it. So for me, that's probably one of the most important things, where it's like, if I see myself becoming inconsistent with something, it's probably because I fucking hate it. And at that point, I would either replace it with something that I did enjoy that was also beneficial to me, or just cut it out entirely. Another thing that I learned that I know is a fact for everybody is you can 100% accomplish more than you think you can in the current moment and in the future. There were times on the stair stepper, if I go back to when I was doing 6 and 13 for the first time, I really wanted to push myself to take my hands off of the machine, and I fucking promise you, it was one of the hardest things that I've done in my life. Just, step after step, fucking panting for breath. I'm dripping sweat. Everything is super intense and painful, and I'm repeating in my head over and over, like, you can fucking do this. Like, you think you can't, but you can. just completely reminding myself like, hey, by the way, your body can do a lot more than what you think it can. And this goes for everything. This goes for your goals in business. This goes for your goals in life. You can accomplish a lot more than what you think that you can accomplish. And if you're somebody who pushes yourself every day and pushes yourself at the gym or during cardio, just always repeat to yourself that you can do whatever it is that you're trying to do. Because sometimes it was that voice in my head saying like, this will be worth it. You can do it. You're going to accomplish your goal. I wanted to quit at 18 minutes, but I had to push 20 minutes, right? So you can either stop at 18 minutes or you can tell yourself like you can fucking do it and get to 20 minutes. And I promise you 99% of the time you can do it. It's just more of a mental game of convincing yourself that you can do it, especially in the fitness world. So that was my incredibly long video. I didn't really plan on it being this long, but I guess I, covered this plan. I wanted to cover many different things. I don't plan on making that many fitness videos, if any at all, on this channel. I just kind of wanted to make this one video to update on, where I'm at, because like I said, I've been writing down this goal every single day for the past 5 months, and I finally hit it a couple days ago. So I wanted to make the video talking about my journey and how I did it. And I know a lot of you had questions. If you have more questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. And if you like this video, please leave a like. It means a lot to me and it helps the growth of my channel in general. Of course, if this video inspires you or taught you anything, please let me know. Send me a DM on Instagram or leave it in the comment section, because that's what motivates me to make these videos in the first place. And of course, future Noah, if you're watching this, what's going on? I hope that your life is fucking great. I hope your businesses are crushing it, and I hope you're getting everything that you want out of life. Same thing goes to you. If you're just a general viewer, I hope that you are also getting everything that you want out of life. If not, pick up the slight edge and start changing shit. But that's it for this video. Leave a like, subscribe, and comment if you have any feedback. This is Noah Brewer, and I'm out. Peace.